Hey, it's Mr. Lum again, and in this video, in this Chemistry 11 video, we're going to be talking about naming molecular compounds. So a molecular compound is a compound which has a covalent bond, or an easier way to think of it as two nonmetals that are sharing electrons. Unlike ionic compounds, where a metal, or sorry, maybe a cation, is losing an electron or several electrons and giving it to a anion or a non-metal. Okay, so this one is different. They're sharing. There is no giving and taking. And yeah. So, anyways, let's get down to naming. So I have three steps right here. And the first one is name the first element in the formula. So let's start right away with this one, N2O3. So we're going to name the first element in the formula. So we see N. Just go to our periodic table, find N. We see that it's right here, nitrogen. So I'm going to name the first one first. Nitrogen. Okay. Step number 2. Name the second element, making sure the element name ends with "ide." So the second element is oxygen. So I'm just going to write oxygen. Now, it says make sure the element ends with "ide." Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the suffix on oxygen and write "ide" like this. Okay? Or let's get rid of that one too. So it's going to be oxide. So nitrogen oxide. Step 3. Add a prefix to each element name to indicate the number of atoms present. So we go back to our formula. We see that there's two nitrogens. So we're going to add the prefix to this, di. So it's going to be dinitrogen, and then we have oxide right here. And but we need to add a prefix to this oxide as well. There are 3 oxygens. So we need to write, there are 3 oxygens here, and we're going to write the prefix right here. Tri. So it's going to be dinitrogen trioxide. So you want to make this a little bit nicer. Not that my writing is very nice. Dinitrogen trioxide. Good. And we are done. So let's take a look at this, the second one right here. Name the first element first, carbon. Name the second element second, but change the ending to IDE. So I'm just going to do that right away. Oxide. Add the prefix to each element. So you'd write mono, so there's only one carbon. You'd also write mono oxide right there. So it would be monocarbon, mono oxide. Now, there's an exception here. The first element does not get mono. So this is the first element right here. It does not get mono, so we're going to take that back. Now we have another thing here, and I didn't write this one down, but we have carbon monoxide. So if I were to write it out like this, carbon mono, and then it would be oxide. We don't like these 2 O's like this, so you're going to get rid of one of them. It just looks funny, and it sounds funny when you say monoxide rather than saying monoxide. So what you should have is carbon monoxide. And this is your the answer for that one. Okay, these are the only two exceptions. First exception, we do not put mono on the first element. The second exception is just for oxygen. If there's one oxygen, get rid of one of the O's right there. Don't have two O's next to each other. So carbon monoxide. Now we have this one. This is the name of the element, and we're just going to work backwards. So phosphorus, and we have chloride, Cl right here. Okay. Now, phosphorus. Now it doesn't tell us how many there. If there's 2 or 3, it has no prefix in front of there. Since there's no prefix, we already know that there's only one phosphorus. It's like monophosphorus. Pentachloride, we know there are 5 chlorines. So it's going to be PCl5. Okay? And that's how we derive the formula from a name. Here's 3 more questions. You can put the video on pause right now and try to work through these and see if you get the right answer. But I'm going to go a little bit faster since we have the basic techniques down. We have here is carbon. I don't write mono because mono never goes first. And then there's 4 bromines. So I'm going to write 4, which is tetra. And then bromine, instead of writing bromine, I'm going to write bromide. Again, nitrogen, we do not write mono, so I'm just going to write nitrogen. We have 1 oxygen, so 1 gets the prefix mono. We don't want 2 O's right beside each other, so here's 1. Instead of having monoxide, we're just going to have monoxide. Again, 1 sulfur. We have fluorine and hexa. That means 6. So sulfur is represented right here. The hexa is represented right here. And the fluoride is represented right there. Sulfur hexafluoride. Okay?